Australia is a big country. Australia is also a land shaped by wildfire in many places. Join me as we travel around this great country, meeting people and talking with them, and together their stories will come together and help us better explain Australia's complex relationships with wildfire. Welcome to Talking Wildfire Australia, my friends. Okay, hi and welcome. My name is Michael Hill, and I'm a firefighter from the US and Australia. I have now probably 30 some seasons fighting fire, and over the years I've worked with Brian Williams here a bunch on fires. And Brian is an excellent leader. He creates very cohesive teams. And today I wanted Brian to give a talk about his background and also leadership.
Yeah, okay, Mike, pleasure. It's been a pleasure to work with you in the past, I must admit. Okay, I've been a volunteer firefighter for the last 54 years. I've been the captain of my local brigade for the last 38 years, and I also helped pioneer and lead the team that pioneered the RAFT concept, Remote Area Firefighting Team in Australia. And the objective of that team is to go into fires in the wilderness areas, in remote locations. The general access way of getting into those is by getting winched from a helicopter, and we land in the fire on the burnt area, then work our way out to the fire front and start to deal with it. So that's my background. I've had a marvellous time, and I've worked with some excellent people over my career, and I've also worked with some that I wasn't that confident in how they performed. So to me, good leadership is a very important facet of what we do in keeping our people safe and getting to the desirable outcomes. One of my beliefs is that you've got to lead. Good leadership comes from the top down. You've got to set the example, and you've got to encourage your people to get up to that standard of what you're actually doing. And for instance, I would never ask somebody to do a task that I wasn't prepared to do myself. And in raft work, quite often it's dangerous, steep country we're working in. The risks are fairly high, and it's always been my objective to lead on those dangerous situations. And to get the result that I want, but the team effort when you go out onto a fire, the objective is to manage the risk and put the fire out. Okay, and the only way you can do that is if you've got a really good cohesive team working with you. You've got to have everybody in the group working as one. And the way to encourage that is to get people involved in the decision-making process. Quite often at a fire the situation may change, and I always like to sit down with my people and discuss what way we're going to go, where we're going to go from here, and allow everybody to have input into it. In the end, as the leader, I got to make the final decision, but I like to get the people's input into it and have them encouraged to be part of that team and to come up with a final result. And usually I can get that without much difficulty. Sometimes I may have to steer them in a slightly different direction, possibly, but most times we just sit down, work it out, and we work as a team to get there. The desired result is what's important. It's not about who's got the power, who's the leader. The objective is for the team to produce the result that we desire. And so that's what I think good leadership's all about. You've got to mentor your team along the way. Like everybody in the team somebody's got specialist skills in all different sorts of fields. So you get a whole group of people together, and that collective has tremendous knowledge and experience and expertise within that group. So the idea of a good leadership, I believe, is to make sure you use the people with that expertise in their field they're best employed at. Now, if say you've got somebody in the team that's not quite up to speed on something, and you give them a job to do, and they say navigation, for instance, if they're not quite up to speed, I just slip somebody over. So, Jimmy, go and give Tom a hand with that, will you? I slip someone in that's really good at navigation, and that encourages him. If I find somebody that's lacking in a skill, I never sort of talk to them about that in front of the team. I'll take them aside and have a quiet chat to them. You never belittle your people. You build them up all the time, and that's the way I believe you get the best out of your team. A lot of leaders I've worked with that I haven't admired too much are people that want to be the top dog, that always want to be the power base, the person in control. Listen to what I've got to say, do as I say. I think that's the wrong approach altogether. Something I like to say is that if you're the smartest, as the leader, if you're the smartest person in your team, you've hired or put on the wrong people. You know, you should encourage people that are smarter than you into the team, because if you want to look good, you surround yourself with smart people, and you feed off their talents and abilities. And a good leader, all a good leader's got to do is identify the skill base of the people he has, use them in the field that they're best suited for, and that gives you an excellent team result at the end of the day. Another thing that's important is it's got to be enjoyable, particularly when you're dealing with volunteers, okay? They're there, they're giving up their time and their income, they're not getting paid. Even though it might be difficult, hard, draining work, you've still got to try and make it enjoyable for them. And I like to have a little bit of humour in the day, crack a joke here or two, but never at the expense of anybody. Just a bit of a joke somewhere along the way. And when they go home, even though they might be sort of buggered, they'll have a smile on their face. They've had a good day.
So Brian, you're about bringing people together as a group and also building them up and not breaking them down. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. If you start knocking people down, you're destroying your team, and you won't get the outcome that you want. I mean, the work we do can be dangerous, okay? And at the end of the day, the safety of the people involved is the most important thing. And to do that, to work safely, you've got to have a team all pulling together. Everybody's got to be looking out for one another, encouraging one another. If they see somebody, is having a bit of a difficulty in steep mountainous terrain, you get very tired carrying chainsaws and all sorts of equipment around. You've got to, lend a hand. If you see someone struggling, give them a hand.
And I see something else over the years, Brian. I've seen that you tend to see that the mission is what's important and that we're all working together towards the outcome of a mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, it's the mission that's important, to get the job over and done with in a safe manner. It's not about someone trying to stand out as a hero. And another great thing I believe too, if a team's going to get an accolade, a pat on the back or something, give it to one of the troops. Don't stand up there as a leader and take all the glory. You make sure the boys get it. That's important. You're just someone, the leader, I look upon a leader, is just someone to cohesively manage the team to get the best result out of it.
Brian, if you were talking to a new leader, somebody that wanted to do good in the future in emergency situations or military or so on, what would you have? Would you have a message to pass to them?
Look, my advice is that you observe what's going on. One of the things I do is observe everybody in the field. And if I see somebody that needs a bit of a pick-up somewhere along the line, I'll take them aside and encourage them to, do something better. And if you watch what goes on in the field, you learn a hell of a lot. So observation is I think the most important thing. And all leaders have good and bad points. And the idea to encourage new leaders is that they look upon getting the best of the best and marrying that together to influence their own decision-making process.
When you have somebody new come into the team, I've noticed that you're really good at integrating them cohesively into your teams. How do you do that?
Well, look, first of all, I have a bit of a quiet chat to them on the side, and then I might buddy them up with one of my most experienced people in the team. Make sure they've got a good buddy, someone that's suitable to help them to begin with. I just observe how they go on the first mission, see what they're up to, see what they're about, and gradually just bring them more and more into the team. Not push them into the deep end first up, but just gradually work them into the team and let them build their confidence and make sure they mix well with the team, and it just builds from there.
So you're building them up as a person,
yeah, absolutely,
and having them
that's
join
important.
the team.
Yeah. Most important, you build their self-esteem, get them working. The most important thing is they've got to be a cohesive member of a team that's got an objective to do, and to do that objective safely.
Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to tell everyone?
Look, just that in a team, everybody in the team is just as important as anybody else. It's the team outcome that's important. Just fit into the team, go along with it. You've got to be prepared to give and take a little bit in a team environment. You can't have it your own way. You've just got to blend in, be cooperative, work together, do a safe.
Brian, can you tell us some about succession planning?
Yeah, sure. Look, succession planning is one of the most important aspects of what we do, I think. You need to get people geared up to go higher up the chain of command. I'm a great believer that everybody should be trained up to at least 2 levels above where they're currently employed. That's most important. I mean, here in Australia, we just have been through a 5-month straight fire campaign, a very long period of time. So lots of people were doing tasks above the level they were actually at.
You're talking 2019?
Yeah. So they're most important that you're gearing people up all the time. And that's why when I go out on a job, I like to sometimes hand the reins over to somebody and say, right, you're going to run the fire today. You run the team, and I'll just sit back and observe. Okay? And normally they do it quite well, and they enjoy the challenge, and it's extremely good for building morale within the team. Rarely do I have to take someone aside. If I have to correct somebody on any subject, I won't do it in front of the troops. I always just pull them aside and have a quiet chat to them over a cuppa or something and say, look, I think we could have done this a little bit better. But I never blurt out, hey, no, that's no good, we'll do it this way.
And why is that?
That's the way you build respect of your team members. They all respect you. And you've got to respect them as well. Respect's a two-way street. You can't expect to get respect unless you give respect. So there's easy ways. You get to the same end goal, that there's ways you go about it that are good for the morale of a team. And ultimately, the team success is what's really important.
I agree. Okay, Brian, when a new team member comes into your groups,
Yep.
I've noticed that you do different things to create a cohesive entry for them. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a great believer in checking out the background of the person involved first and making sure that they are suitable for what we're going to take.
How do you do that?
I have a bit of a yarn to them and work out their background. You get a drift on what they enjoy doing, and if people enjoy camping out, doing it rough, done a lot of bushwalking, canyoning, that sort of thing, they're going to be suitable for a raft team.
When you have new people that joined your teams, what did you think about mentorship?
Look, I'd sit down and have a good talk to them and explain to them carefully what it was all about. And the fact that they were coming into an experienced team with lots of knowledge, and their job was just to watch and observe initially. But whenever we were going to change a tactic or come up with a new plan, I would sit the team down and ask them what they thought. And so the final plan, I would like to encourage everybody to contribute to that plan. Okay, but in the end, I would make a final decision if I had to. And what I found, I could always steer the team in the direction I wanted to go with, without sort of standing there and demanding that this is what we're going to do. So you get a lot better result if people contribute. If they felt like they're important to the team, and everybody in that team is important, doesn't matter what skill they have, everybody has to be a contributor to the team outcome. So the team is the important thing, not the leadership really. As a team leader, you should never be worried about somebody trying to climb above your level. A good team work as a team, And I've been fortunate to work in some good military teams in the past, and it's all about the outcome of the team. I mean, in a military situation, lives depend on people doing a good job and working cohesively together. It's no different in firefighting. When you're in a dangerous environment, as you are in a raft, remote area fire environment, or even if you're working off the back of a truck, you're in a dangerous environment. And in a dangerous environment, everybody needs to contribute. And I tell all my people, if I'm working with a crew on a truck, everybody's got to sniff the wind. And what I'm saying there is you look for a change of direction of the wind. A change of direction of the wind is killer. And it's very important that everybody is contributing. And never be scared, I tell my people, never be scared to say to me, I don't like what we're doing at the moment. If you feel uncomfortable, you let me know. Because if you've got people that are really scared or worried in the team, then that becomes a real problem. So I encourage people to talk to me and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with what we're doing at the moment.
And also if they see something in the field changing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just like when you're in a helicopter, everybody's got to be looking for wires or some obstacle or another aircraft. It's important that everybody don't just sit there and rely on the leader to look after you. It's got to be a team outcome.
So you see it, leadership as a team situation, not as so much an individual power situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. People that are there for the power don't make good leaders, in my opinion. Okay, the people that are there to build a team, and when you start to build a team, the team performs so much better. The outcome is so much better. People are safer. People work better. People work harder if they feel like they're a good contributor to that outcome.
So everything is goal focused then for the team.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't ever get yourself in a situation where you think I'm the most important person in the team. If you're the leader, don't ever think that. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Over the years that I've worked with you, I've definitely seen that in play, Brian, and I like how you're able to bring the team together. And I guess that's the secrets of it, is what you were just saying there, for pulling people together instead of having someone at the top that's a dictator.
Yeah. You've got to work. You've got to build the confidence in the team. You need to earn the respect. A leader needs to learn the respect of his team, and to get that respect, he needs to respect the individual and all their contributions that they make to the team. It's a two-way street.
Well, that's an interesting concept. That's something that I don't hear a lot of. Okay. I think if there's a new leaders out there, somebody that's just starting out in fire or different fields, and you think you could offer them some tips and advice, what else could you offer them? What else would you say to someone just coming up and trying to learn?
Well, look, you work with a lot of different leaders, and you need to identify those skills that you like and take them on board. And you'll get lots of things that you don't like too. So you get team leaders that you don't like. It's no good taking on the rubbish. You need to look at the positives and everything and build your leadership skills around those things that you think make a good leader. People that you have enjoyed working with, if you come back from the end of the day and you've enjoyed what you've done, then that's when good leadership skills has managed to do that. Okay, if you've come back and you've had a miserable day and you can't wait to knock off, then that leadership hasn't gone that well.
That's great concepts. Brian, when you have new people come onto your team, how do you teach them to where their place is in the team, how they could be supporting everyone? How would you do that?
It's really just a natural transition, to be honest. I teach them to watch and observe, if I can, contribute where they think they should. And it's just you can't make it a leader overnight. It's a skill that takes a lot of developing. To become a good leader, you need to develop those skills over a long period of time.
And so for even just people joining a team or something, it would be about them watching and learning and see how they can contribute to the team?
Absolutely, yeah.
Brian, thank you for your talk today, and I really appreciate it.
Good on you, Mike. Great to catch up again, mate. Well done.
Great. A sincere thank you to Brian Williams. We really appreciate you coming on board with us and sharing your hard-won knowledge. If you like what we're doing, please give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and comment below. See you next time.